Yeah, perfect.
Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1, 2, 3. Test 1. Test 1.
Hello, guys. I haven't seen some of you in such a long time. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, I'll call you right back. I'm gonna start the show.
Are you live? Hi, guys. Good
Live.
morning. Yes, you made it in today. What's up, Linda? What's up, Alexandria? What is good, people? That's too close. Because you're picking up this and this.
Yep.
Says green, so.
Niggas green. Hopefully, if it doesn't work, I can blame
Yes, I'm ready for spring too. Springtime happens. Hey, for those of you that are in Connecticut, I'm going to be at Hawk Ridge on March 26th. If you guys want to come and hang out, I'm going to be there pretty much all day, just doing me, because the next day is my birthday. So my cousins and I, weather permitting, will be out there, babe, it's 3 o'clock.
He hasn't started yet. Can't do it until he starts it.
Yep. Get ready. Do you have a short leash there?
The people know we hear people. Get the word out. Spread the word. Get ready to go.
Oh, thanks for the share, Tia. Thank you so much for the share. Yours is the 25th. Linda, you already know. We are going to celebrate girl. Hawk Ridge, Watertown. Let's go.
Go to Arizona.
No, Hawk Ridge. It's just closer for everybody else.
Change your mind.
I'm going to go to Arizona too, but that's going to be by myself. Welcome back to another segment of The Coach.
And the counselor.
What's up, guys? What is up? We are going to get right into the subject. I hope each of you are well.
Yes, well, cold, and that you're staying warm unless you're in the Caribbean or the Bahamas. You're
Florida,
warm.
maybe?
Yeah, you're warm.
Yes, so to all of our listeners all across the land.
All across the land, wherever you are.
Welcome. We're going to dive right into the topic. The topic is...
Take it off.
Yes, take it off.
Mm-hmm.
What do you guys think of when you think of take or taking it off? What do you think of? I think of when I walk into this amazing room, it's like a sauna because we have an amazing Jamaican engineer that we love. Aaron Johnson, yes, love him. Our second and first engineer is on hiatus for the moment, but we love it. The first thing I think of when I walk into a place, or just when I'm up and about, I think of just dropping all the weight of clothing, all the weight of the yesterdays, all the weight of even my tomorrows. I don't want to have to worry for tomorrow. I want to live in the moment. Counselor, what is it you think of when you hear the words take it off?
Definitely when I'm intimate with you, like that one, take it off.
That was coming.
Oh yeah, that was coming. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I'm consistent. I'm consistent. But there are ways that you have to take it off. Now, for me, it was recently I reached 210 pounds. And I wasn't happy with that because that represents something that I told my wife indirectly I wouldn't do. When I married my wife, I wasn't that heavy. And so I said to myself, listen, I gotta take this stuff off. So I went to a regiment, I got back on Weight Watchers, watching my weight, weighed myself daily, even though I hated sometimes the response. And that's how you take it off. You constantly are weighing yourself to see, am I putting stuff on or am I taking stuff off? And to me, the biggest challenge in life is your weight. Your weight don't lie. No, your weight doesn't lie. And your weight to me is like your emotional stuff. So then my wife, yes, my lovely wife, she said, "Now, honey, you got to maintain it." And that word has been ringing in my head like crazy because I don't want to lie to my wife. I don't want to lie to my wife. And so that's why I'm hovering under 190. I was 185 the other day. But that's how you maintain. It's a set mind. It's when you're hungry, you say, no, I'm gonna eat this versus that. Now see, that's how you take things off. I'm not gonna do this, I'm gonna do that. In other words, I'm not gonna think negative, I'm gonna think positive. I'm not gonna be retaliate to this person, I'm going to pray for this person, or I'm not gonna be around this person anymore because it's that person's too toxic. See, that's how you take things off. You do something in action. I could have said all along, Coach Portia, there's weight coming off. No. I had to do something. So my regiment, plus Coach Portia and I now are doing bike riding. We have the ghetto Peloton. Yeah, we have the ghetto Peloton. You want to explain the ghetto Peloton now?
No, I don't.
Okay. But it's working, but it's maintaining to take it off.
Yes, so you said something very important about the words came to me, the scales of justice. The
Okay.
scales of justice, because you mentioned weighing that weight.
Sure.
So whatever the weight is, could you give us different measurements of weight?
That's good. That's good.
For us, sometimes it's that physical, what do you call it, the weighing? Oh, the weighing machine.
Scale, yeah,
The
scale,
scale, so the scale. What's other scales of
good.
justice could people use for weighing their actions, for weighing
That's good.
themselves, for weighing others? Do you have any other ways for
That's a very deep question. For me, it's
for measurement?
it's how depressed you are. That's a big scale right
On a
there.
scale, but what are they using to measure that, to make
How
sure
you-
that they're taking the weight off?
How you interact with yourself, how you interact with people. If you're always grouchy,
But how would they measure that is the question.
by how they respond. I mean, it's like, am I easily annoyed? Am I easily get upset? How oversensitive I can be. All of those things are part of the scales of, when I get around somebody
Sure.
who I know is not good for me, how do I deal with that? Am I totally antsy? Am I drinking coffee like crazy? Am I running my mouth like crazy? Or for me, it's peace. Where is my peace barometer at?
Right, and how long could you keep that piece? So
That's
the
cool.
measurement, the weight to measure, so in my work, I use something called a parts work meter.
Okay.
And it's my own program that I just sort of like input. I gauge a person's parts
Sure.
by response.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a metric, response. The time of the response.
Okay. Explain the time.
So the time of the response, how long it takes them to get to a level. How long were you peaceful before this happened?
Right.
How long, measure. I think of time when I think of just measurement and responses, and what is the meter? What is the meter that you're using to measure this? I'm taking my weight off, because physically, of course, we can use the
Scale.
scale, the measuring scale, right?
Mhm.
When we're weighing food, we can use the little adjustments for, okay, I'm eating this amount of weight of food, but not often do we talk about the weight of, time and measurement for.
The time, the measurement, how long you stay mad. I mean, that's a big
Right.
scale for
Yes.
me. I mean, how long am I frustrated with this issue?
Right. Is it a day now? Is it a week? Is it a year? Or is it, hey, you know what? Life is too short. I'm just looking at this. I might be there for an hour, but I'm moving past it. I'm dealing with it in that moment. Right. What are the measures that people are using
Yeah.
to weigh that taking it off?
Like I tell people, your love may not be perfect, but has to be consistent.
Mm.
Okay, that's very deep. When you're in a relationship, your love is never perfect. I mean, it's like, oh, I love you. Oh, no, sometimes, you know, but it has to be consistent, and that's what people, I think, lose it by not taking it off. Is that I'm not looking for a perfect marriage or a perfect relationship because that doesn't
Wow,
exist.
so, but now you're taking me somewhere else because you threw that word in there, love.
Mhm.
Uh, that word love for me is different.
All right.
It's
Let's go there.
when I think of love, that measurement,
Uh-huh.
I think of so many aspects of it. So taking off kindness to put on love, because love has so many attributes of itself.
First Corinthians chapter 13 talks about that, how love is defined. Love beareth all. Love doesn't keep tabs on. Okay, she did that 2 minutes ago. I'm gonna keep tabs on that for the next 20 years. I mean, love doesn't do that. But again, for me as a counselor, it's constantly telling people take off the negative. How do you take off the negative? By putting on the positive.
Right. So then when you said the word love, and I'm thinking the measurement and the barometer that I personally use to weigh that
Sure.
is definitely the characteristics of itself.
Yes. Yeah.
So if someone's mean and
Mhm.
constantly that way, I
Constantly.
give them that inch of respect and that inch of, you know what, maybe they're going through something, maybe they're not experiencing love, but that's not love to themselves. Especially if they're spewing it out on other people. That barometer for me is
Taking it off is understanding it's not what they do to me, it's what I do in response to them. See, again, because
it has to be self-led responsibility.
it has to be self-led, and I cannot let people, watch this now, dictate me. Because, okay, you did something, so now I'll do something back to you. Well, in actuality, that person who did something to you is really in controlling of the situation because now you're responding back to them. Versus, how do I feel and what's good for me after the situation? I mean, after I did X, Y, and Z to them, how do I feel afterward? That's why the taking off is so important. Why? I went out to a lunch with a executive. And so we both were talking about sweets, because we love sweets. And so I did something I've never done before. Oh my goodness. I ordered salmon and Brussels sprouts. Yes, people, I ordered Brussels sprouts and I had a little bit of fries. And so because I ate the salmon and the Brussels sprouts, which I've never had before, I was able to enjoy the cake. And when I weighed myself, nothing moved, mainly, big time, because I was able to eat the good stuff and I had the cake afterwards. All right. So the taking off is making decisions. See, I had to make a decision. Now I could have ordered me some ribs, some fried chicken, yes, I'm black, and all that good stuff, and then had the cake. But see, no, it's making conscious decisions. How do I take, okay, so I take things off, Coach Clark, watch this, by first asking myself, do I want this on? I'll say it one more time again. So I'm making conscious decisions that before, so if I'm careful in what I'm taking on, then it's not going to be so heavy to take things off. Does that make sense?
Right,
Coach Portia?
because remembering that we are building leaders, we're self-led,
Yes.
self-led leaders. I love the barometer. So all of this take it off, I'm thinking of measurements,
Sure.
time,
Right.
energy.
Right.
I think of those things, measurements,
Yeah.
time, energy. So press it, this is the model.
Sure.
Right. Press it, I'm measuring it, I'm weighing it. Press it, try it. I'm going to try that thing, almost like a scientific experiment. I'm gonna weigh it.
Right.
Weigh it by response, measurement, whatever measurement I have geared for personal self. And then I put my thumb on it if all things work out. So I press it, I try it,
Yes.
I weigh it,
Yes.
and then I put my thumb on it. So the question is, what is your metric meter? Your
Okay.
personal metric meter for taking things off, be it positive, be it negative. You know, you could have too much. You could have too much overwhelm in your life, and the overwhelm could be joy, and not in a negative way.
Yeah, yeah.
You could have too much, and once that happens, when you get too much of anything, you're still your measurements are still off.
Yeah.
So it could be over something,
Sure.
overindulging in joy, overindulging in.
Yeah.
I don't think you could ever overindulge in peace, but
No, I'm an overdone piece.
but there's an overindulgence there.
It again is constantly making sure that you're in that mind frame of good.
And we'll be back in just a moment.
Well, I was talking about the website, but it's been a while.
I am Dr. B. We are the coach and the counselor of Burden using the IFS model of Partswork coaching with we're kind of talking about it. We're kind of talking about it. So we kind of talk about it right now.
We don't sell. We can sell on Burton, on Burton.net.
The coach and the counselor. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Yes, and don't forget our website, unburdening.net. Unburdening.net. We have all of our podcasts, over 36 podcasts up there, and also see the book we wrote together and more information about us.
Also, check out weunburdentogether.com if you want parts work, body work. Look us up and let us know.
Yes, ma'am.
So we're going to jump right back into
Take
the
it off.
topic.
Mhm.
Back into the topic. So parts work. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My mind's always on parts. Our measurement meter. So.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it's when I have a negative stimuli, what do I do with it? Because that first response to that negative stimuli can mess up your entire day, mess up your entire marriage or relationship, because again, I didn't deal with it correctly. So when something negative comes to you, you make a decision quickly.
Do you?
For me, it does. Do I dwell on it? Do I feast on it? Again, these are all parts of taking things off. Because if I stay in that place, now for me, is getting quiet and kind of doing a self-examination. Now, some of you can get very emotional, and that may not be good all the time. For me, it's all right. What am I feeling? Okay, what is my response to what just happened? Because my response is on me. It's not on the other person. It's not on your wife, it's not on your husband. It's on me. So when you do that, that's helping, again, to easily take it off. But the reason why it's so hard to take things off, because it gets so much into your system. I forgot the super guy, Spider-Man. He fights all the time. I forgot his name. But, it gets all into your system. And that's what you cannot allow. Again, I cannot allow that negative thing to get all in my, because if it gets in my system, it's so hard to take it out because I let it in. Again, it's what my response is that helps me to take it off quicker.
So I like what you were saying earlier about just sort of measuring what you're even willing to put on.
Correct.
What you're willing to put on.
Correct.
Because if you don't measure that, then sometimes it is harder to get off. So being that,
No. If I'm constantly berating my wife, or the wife is berating the husband, it's going to be harder to take it off because you're always negative toward
well,
them.
that's not going to happen with me. So.
Of course not. It's this and same here. But if you are appreciating, loving, thank you, gratitude, then what you're doing, people, hear me. You are putting that boundary around, because again, it is your mind frame.
So why is it good when it comes to taking it off? Why is it good to set those boundaries? And I'm thinking physically, the atmosphere of how everything has its place, the waters, even though they're vast all over the world,
The boundaries.
they still have their space and time, their boundaries.
Stay within the
The
boundaries.
sun, the moon, the stars, the skies, they have their space and boundaries.
There's been times in our marriage where you said, all right, Mr. Brantley, we're not doing that. And there are times I said to my wife, Portia, we're not doing that. Why? We set boundaries because we said to each other before we even got married, you're not gonna mess with my peace. Because we both
That
been,
was the
that was
barometer
not
for
gonna
us.
not messing with my peace. Because we've been in relationships where our peace was jacked up and hijacked
In other places, right?
in other places. So to your point, Coach Porter, which is very good, is what are my boundaries? And if you keep pushing me to that boundary, that's a bad sign.
Right, because then we're outside of our ecosystem, I guess, I don't know if I can call it that, for our personal lives and
Correct.
um, our personal space.
Yeah, but because in my personal space is how I deal with things. And yeah, that's why people, to take it off, you got to monitor what you're putting on. I said one more time again. To take it off, I have to monitor what I'm putting on. And so as a counselor, people say to me all the time, well, how come you can go sleep and just relax after this intense counseling session? It's very simple. Because I don't put their stuff on me.
Right, we take it off,
Take it very easy.
So we have someone from our live audience, and I love this comment. They said, when I'm feeling crunchy, I retreat and reflect. Take a time out.
That's good.
That is very powerful,
Embellish
and
that.
it is a wisdom-filled statement, because that's what taking it off helps us do. It helps us understand wisdom and our boundaries within that. Like, okay, I like that word crunchy.
Yeah, it goes back to our childhood. I'm giving a timeout, and there are times that in doing my taxes, which I hate doing, and thank God we just completed them. I was telling Coach Portia, I need a timeout because this person about to make my hair come out. But I had to calm myself down. And what I did, Coach Portia, and I text my wife this, I said, you know what? I have to think about God and think about my love for my wife. That was my taking it off. Okay. That was me balancing this is so deep. It's balancing this negative with a positive. Because if you don't do that, it's going to wreck you. And then I'll come home mad at my wife, mad at everybody because of what happened at the tax office.
Right, and I had nothing to do with it.
You had nothing to do with it.
So let's talk a little bit about that. When we don't take it on, what happens
Oh my
with
goodness.
others that are a part of our lives that
They get the brunt of it.
But why do we do that? Why, as a counselor,
Because our society has taught people to take things on and not take things off.
But why?
I'm telling you why. Because America, and again, I'm not putting shade on nobody here, but Americans, in comparison to other places, we're overweight physically. I mean, we overeat. So our society has told us, put it on. Don't worry about it. Just put it on. Our credit cards are overmaxed. Just put it on. And so we have not been trained in America, especially, to, you know what? I really don't need 25,000 pairs of shoes. I don't need all those pairs of shoes. Why? Because I'm learning to take it off.
So what happens though when we put those when we've taken on too much, right?
Yes.
And whatever that take on could be for each individual
Everybody's
that's
different.
listening in this moment, whatever that take on could be, why is it that when we take it on, that's the responsibility? And I know some of us are empaths and we don't take things on willingly
Mm-hmm.
from others.
Mhm.
But when we put things on ourselves, when we take it on, why is it that we begin to lash out to others from a counselor's perspective? What is that?
Again, is you being immature.
But
And
what if we don't know? What if a person doesn't realize, you know what, I really just lashed out on this person, they have nothing to do with it.
people realize they're doing something. They just don't want to change.
I don't know if everybody realizes.
I think the
A
majority.
manipulator realizes what
I
they're
think the
doing.
majority of the people know, you know what, I just went off with the person and it feels good. It feels
But what is
good.
that about? What is that all about?
It goes back to the childhood of what they saw in their parents, what they saw in the person that reared them, what they saw in the foster home, what they saw in the boarding school, because they saw the negative and they saw the person keep doing it. And if you, again, it is true, psychologically, if you do something for 30 days, it becomes a habit. Imagine doing something for 5, 6, 10, 15 years.
Decades.
decades of
It
it.
feels like normal, it becomes normal. But see, in my work, there's something called, there's often a guilt that
Yes,
comes with
it
or a
does.
shame
Mhm.
or something that comes with that measurement.
Sure.
Right? So the part that feels guilty, it begins to speak. And it says, hey, listen, you did this, you did that, it starts judging. And for me, I know that, okay, there's some unburdening that needs to be done, but there's also a lot of wisdom and work to be done with that person. How long have they been, like you said, decades of doing something
And to me,
that's not serving them?
and to me, it goes back to what you said a long time ago, which is powerful. What type of support system do you have? Because a good support system is going to tell you when you're right and when you're wrong. And then it's when they tell you because you love them and because you trust them, what you're saying to me is out of love, not out of I just want to go after you. It's out of love. But again, what is your support system?
So our live audience is saying, I think we sharpen our teeth on those closest to us because that is where we are safest.
Yes.
Wow. Let me just pause in that moment.
I was deep.
OMG.
I was deep.
OMG. And I love when our
That was
audience
deep.
interacts because there's so much
I
wisdom
was deep.
and sharing that we all have. That is powerful.
Mm-hmm.
That is so powerful.
That should be.
I think we sharpen our teeth on those closest to us. But what gives us that comfort level? What, when someone argues with you or says something out of turn, and, the word back in my day, in the 80s, 70s and 80s growing up was, they had the audacity, So what gives us the audacity, the boldness, what gives us that okay to do that to others?
We are so used to
rationality.
Scripturally, it was Moses in Deuteronomy telling the people, we've been around this mountain for a long time. And so if you, listening audience, if you are finding yourself in a negative relationships and negative mind frames, the common denominator is you. You have not learned how to take things off. You blink, I tell single women, if you ask the guy why the last relationship didn't work, and if he's always pointing fingers at the other person, that's a sign to run away because he will not or she will not take responsibility for what they've done. And that's a form of narcissism. So, sir, if you're dating someone and they are always pointing fingers at the other person, and man, if you're dating someone and he's always pointing fingers at the other person, that's a form of narcissism because you're saying there's nothing wrong with you. And in a relationship, I feel like preaching real quick. In a relationship, you bring both people into a relationship, and you both drink from the same pot, and you both have it.
So let's just sort of just go back over. We're talking about a lot of random things, which is what we
Take
do
it off,
when
take it off.
we sit down. So taking it off.
Mhm.
Do you have any wrap up that you want to do with that?
It's monitoring what you bring on, so you
I
can
like
take it
that
off.
part.
It's constantly monitoring.
Nice.
It's also getting coach work. It's also getting counseling because, again, as that comment said, what you saw all your life, you make it into a norm. I mean, most sexual abusers, Coach Portia, were sexually abused themselves, so they justify what they experienced in their childhood, and they make the justification
Right.
into the normality.
And it's so embedded in them that burden
Yes.
carries over to others.
That's
It's
correct.
just how things keep
That's correct.
carrying on. It's a part of our.
It's a movie we saw yesterday. The trailer. There's a mama that just lost it, and she was saying something. Essence. This is what I learned. This is
Right.
what I know.
So many burdens, and those burdens carry on to other people, and we have to be responsible enough to, number one, identify when we are spewing what we took onto others. Number two, like you said, measuring what we're taking on, what we're putting into our personal ecosystems. Because if we're not self-leading and recording what's going into our systems, then we're not probably recording what's coming out of our systems.
That's correct.
So
If you're not monitoring what's going in, that's good.
Monitor. So in the 100 Days of Discipline Journey group I have on Facebook, our motto is practice, practice, practice.
Yeah.
When it comes to yourself, monitor, 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 because what you're recording on the inside, when someone pushes play,
Yes.
they're gonna get what
That's
you're
good.
taking in.
Say that one more time. That was deep.
What you're recording and taking in, what you're taking in, what you're putting on the inside.
That's good.
When someone pushes play,
That's good,
whether
good
that
portion.
play can get on your nerves, whether that play
That's
can
good.
hit that joy button, whatever you're recording in, someone's gonna get that back.
That's
So-
good.
So, spirit, I'm not religious, but spirit is everything. Spirit is everything. So with that, do you wanna have closing words?
My closing word, what you just said, girl, that was profound, girl. That was a bar.
So that's the
That was a
homework.
bar right
So
there.
that is the homework.
Yes. What are you recording?
What are you recording?
That's good.
On a moment by moment basis.
That's good.
Monitor what you're recording for your personal system. And
Correct.
especially if you have little ones, monitor what they are also recording. So that's the homework, and we'll speak to you guys next week.
Until next time, don't forget, whatever you record is what you play. That was good.
Peace.
That was a bar, girl.
All right, guys.
That was a
We'll
bar.
link to you later. I'll talk to you soon. One love, and we'll see you tomorrow on my page. Copyright that, Coach P.
That was
See
a
you
bar.
guys.
That
On my
was
page
a bar.
tomorrow, we have someone very, very special, and we're
God
going
bless
to
you,
be
people.
meeting with him, and we'll link to you guys later on. I love you guys, and we'll speak to you guys soon. Dave Hurd is in the building, guys. We're going to be speaking with him tomorrow. If you guys have not watched I
Bless
Want to
you.
Dance with Somebody, you better go see it,
Peace.
because we have someone very